Tradition runs deep in college football. Whether it's the Ohio State marching band famously dotting the I, or Oklahoma Sooners schooner thundering across the field pulled by two white horses, or Ralphie the buffalo charging onto Folsom Field to fire up Colorado fans. These rituals are woven into the fabric of the game. But at the start of the 2025 season, CU fans were left disappointed when Ralphie VII didn't burst from her pen as expected, breaking a beloved tradition and dampening the opening day excitement.
I'll be the first to admit it was a pretty miserable experience.
Ralphie program manager Taylor Stratton found herself in the crosshairs of frustrated CU fans receiving a wave of angry messages from those upset that their beloved Buffalo hadn't made her traditional run.
The emails I got in my inbox were nothing I would forward to anybody and want them to read. And so I think that I was absolutely disappointing. No one more disappointed than myself when we feel like our program has let people down, because we understand what Ralphie means to people, but we weren't ready.
This edition of Ralphie was brand new to the spectacle and still just a youngster.
Like, it's one of those things where beginning of August, my vet is like, oh, she's in a growth spurt. Like, it would benefit her to take a couple of weeks off. And I'm like, we're going to do what's best for the animal. And as stewards of her, it is our responsibility to do what's in her best interest, because, again, she doesn't have a voice for herself. So we have to do that, even if it means that we're getting emails talking about how incompetent and what idiots we are all the time.
Then on September 20th, 2025, prior to Colorado's contest with Wyoming, Ralphie was finally set free in the stadium with the help of student handlers like Olivia Drobnich.
It was one of the coolest feelings in the whole world, and being able to debut a new buffalo was such an honor. I mean, being a Ralphie handler is kind of, you're like the pride and tradition of the university.
And sometimes it can change someone's life.
This is the Big Stories Podcast, where we tell the amazing and inspiring stories from across the Big 12 Conference.
I'm your host, Cleon Wall. When Big Stories producer Chase Davidson suggested we spotlight the University of Colorado's newest buffalo and explore the history of the Ralphie program, I was immediately on board. I was curious to learn how a young bison is trained for such a high-energy role and the intensity of the conditioning for the student handlers who run alongside her.
We do pull-ups, mobility tests, and then the sprints.
But along the way, I stumbled onto an even better story, one centered around Taylor Stratton and a prairie queen named Ralphie VII. So let's dive in. 1966 was the first time a buffalo appeared on the sidelines of a University of Colorado football game.
However, 1967 is the official date that we will say that the Ralphie tradition of the buffalo leading the team out onto the field began. Since its inception, we have had 7 buffalo.
And each animal has had a nickname. Ralphie #1 was, well, Ralphie.
She's our longest serving Ralphie. She's fantastic. After that, we had Moonshine, Tequila, Rowdy, Blackout, Ember, and Brandy.
Brandy earned her nickname from the student handlers, who noticed she responded positively to the 1972 song Brandy by Looking Glass. Can you give me a couple of bars of Brandy?
Oh my gosh, you want people to stop listening to your radio show?
Yes, basically. That's what I'm looking for. Take a drink. We want you to have a good voice. Just a little bit of the chorus. That'd be great.
Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a great Ralphie you would be.
But Blackout was the first Ralphie Taylor Stratton ever laid eyes on.
My first question was, how do I get to pet the buffalo?
We'll get to Taylor and Blackout's meet cute in just a moment. But first, it's worth noting that despite growing up only a few hours from campus, this Centennial State native knew almost nothing about Ralphie or the student handler program.
I grew up on my family's cattle ranch. We used to raise Hereford cattle and then quarter horse racehorses in southern Colorado, about halfway between Colorado Springs and Canyon City.
Taylor's grandmother lived on the same property.
This is the woman that I would stand in the ranch truck and I would look out and I would point at the horse and I'd be like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? And so these are all these animals that since the time I could walk and talk, I've spent my time around and my life around. I wasn't really interested in the college experience. I wasn't planning on going to school. And then my school teacher mother was immediately like, that's what you think. college is important. You're going there. I wanted to stay and work on the ranch and just like stay there, raise horses and all that. But my mom, like I said, school teacher, higher education is very important in my family. And so there wasn't really much of a serious option of me not attending college or at least giving it a try.
So Taylor toured several college campuses, including Colorado State University, her parents' alma mater.
And I just didn't feel a good fit on those campuses. My mom's like, hey, like, we're going to go to Boulder. Like, I know you're set against it, but we're going to go. We're going to walk around campus and we're going to see it. And the second I set foot on campus, it was just like a really good fit right off the bat, much to my mother's heartbreak.
But during her freshman year, one phone call from her mom eventually broke Taylor's heart.
She's like, hey, like, you need to come home this weekend. We've got some stuff like we have to do. Like, I need you to get like in your car first thing tomorrow morning and come down here. And she didn't want to tell me my grandmother had passed away like over the phone before I drove 2 hours south. And so I remember walking into the house that we'd moved into and she told me and I just sat down and started crying. And so then like the question becomes like, at the time we had about 110 head of cattle and about 75 horses. You know, it comes down like inheritance tax. You can keep the animals or the property, but what's the point in having the animals if you don't have the property? So I had to sell off these animals I'd known my entire life. And it was a really, really hard transition. The thing that I struggled with is I didn't feel like there was anyone around me going through anything similar because there are not a lot of students that come from an agricultural background. And so when you're even talking about like having to go home and work on the ranch, you get some people that are like, what ranch? Like, what do you mean? And so there's just like not a lot of understanding. Simultaneously, like I just lost somebody that I loved very much and was having to then sell off all of my friends and send them to these homes. So I was super depressed. My mom worked really hard too to like come back up on times when I could go to. She's like, no, like you should go to the football game. You need to be making friends. She tried so hard to make sure it's like a proper college experience, which I did have, but I was a mess, you know, like I'm learning how to do college and live by myself at the same time when a lot of people are making their close friends, that I'm going home and working instead.
Ultimately, she made it to a CU football game.
And everyone was chanting, we want Ralphie, we want Ralphie. And I'm like, who's Ralphie? Like, is that a coach? Is that one of our players? And then I see this live buffalo come tearing down the field with all these people hanging on to her. And I was immediately hooked. My first question was, how do I get to pet the buffalo? And the answer is you have to join the team.
So that's exactly what Taylor decided to do the next spring.
I feel like I've gotten my feet kind of under me. We've sold all the animals. I'm not having to go home as much. And so I basically like showed up, kid from a ranch, and I'm like, I want to pet the buffalo. And they're like, okay, run these sprints.
Wait, did she say run sprints?
You basically ran just 3 90-yard sprints. And you had an application that had some questions on it, could submit references.
But the running thing was a problem. Taylor wasn't in shape, and she believes that's why she didn't make the team.
It's something that I was really interested in and I really wanted to do. And so it was definitely like a soul-searching moment where like I felt like I was sort of floating and I didn't know what my next steps were. And it was one of the defining moments for me where it's like you need to figure out who you want to be in this life. Is it going to be somebody who is resilient and kind of takes the hits and gets back up and keeps pushing for what they want? Or is it somebody that's going to stay down? And, you know, I didn't want to be the person that stayed down. And so I came back in the fall and I was much more intentional about what I wanted to do because there was this goal that I was working towards and pushing towards. So came back, tried a second year, made it the second time, and then proceeded to run for 3 years in college, which were some of the best. I think the best thing this team taught me is that no, life's not fair. You can only control what you can control. And the easiest thing to control is your work ethic and the amount of work that you're going to be putting in. So if you care enough about something, work for it and earn it.
Taylor worked hard to stay on the handler crew.
We have Folsom Field, beautiful stadium. I would go in every single morning and I would run the stadium. So every single step up, go over, every single step down, and then like do all of that. And then 2 days a week, I would run it twice.
She didn't just work hard on the field. Taylor excelled off it too, triple majoring in ecology and evolutionary biology, environmental studies, and geography.
I love mammals, I love maps, and I love clouds. And so those are all of the things that I studied in college because I loved them. I had no idea what I wanted to do after school.
So Taylor took a full-time job as an admissions counselor at the University of Colorado. She traveled across the state and beyond, sharing her story with high school students and explaining why CU was a place that had shaped her life. Then one day she got a call from the coach of the Ralphie program.
I know you're still in Boulder. I'm looking for a volunteer assistant coach. Would you be interested? Where do I sign? Was sort of what I said.
Taylor eventually accepted a new role with Colorado's Alumni Association, a move that allowed her to stay closer to her dog and just maybe remain within reach of Ralphie.
I also started my MBA at University of Illinois. I did the IMBA program, and it was very heavy. It was a lot because the job was a lot of nights and events. It was a lot for the Ralphie team as well, nights, weekends, all of it, and then class.
During this hectic time, her coach approached her again, this time to say he was leaving and asked if she would be interested in taking over the program.
And I was just like, not the way that you're able to do it. And so basically, I told the athletic department, I was like, listen, yes, I am interested in pursuing this, but it has to be a full-time job. I can't do full-time job, full-time school, part-time, and then another part-time, full-time caring for these animals because they have to eat every single day.
So CU athletic director Rick George decided to make the position a full-time job.
I told him that I would take the job for her, which of course always makes you be like, shame on me, I should have asked for more.
That's because Taylor is kept busy.
I'm like all things Ralphie. I'm the secretary for the Buffalo, so I manage her schedule and her calendar. I do a good amount of press and interviews. And then the biggest thing is really just the care of the Buffalo, because again, they have to eat every single day. So it's, we're out there at the ranch a lot. We're doing ranch work, which is everything from spreading manure, planting trees, watering said trees after they've been planted.
Taylor now gets plenty of support from assistant program manager Colton Bear and a dedicated crew of student handlers, just like she was back in her college days. But Olivia Drobnich and Matthew Winston, they're nothing like their coach and mentor.
I'm from Michigan, so it's not very Western.
I hadn't really worn a cowboy boots or a cowboy buckle ever.
Okay, maybe a little bit like Taylor.
I love animals, and so Ralphie, she's the cutest thing ever, and this is also the only situation where you're really going to get to be face-to-face with a live buffalo, and we get to pet her and hang out with her.
Then again, maybe not.
I really wanted to run track in college. And when I came to Boulder my freshman year, I really missed being on a team. And the Ralphie Handler program was a perfect mix of my love for animals and also just running in general.
And boy, do they run.
We do practice with the buffalo, with Ralphie, up to 3 times a week.
You got to really make sure that you can keep up with her and really help her do the turn.
But the crew had more to do than just run with the buffalo in 2025. They were tasked with training a large group of new handlers and a brand new buffalo. It was a challenge Taylor had faced once before with Ralphie number 6, also known as Ember.
There aren't any handbooks out there on how to train a buffalo. It's something that Colton and I were sort of just putting together as we're going through trial and error.
We would literally sit in her pasture and just get her accustomed to seeing different people and kind of getting her more, a little less skittish of humans. And once we kind of built that up, then we went for a few basic runs, just some really short straight runs to get her used to getting into the trailer. Then we started experimenting with some more curved runs or some angled runs. Those first runs definitely weren't as pretty as today, but she really knows that her job and her mission is to make it into the trailer by doing that U-shaped run. And that's something that we had to work really hard on over the summer to make sure that she was fully 100% ready to be able to do it on game day.
She goes so fast that sometimes you can't keep up, or you step one wrong step and you can fall down because you're being pulled kind of beyond your normal sprint capacity.
In one word, or maybe 2 words, how would you describe her first run at Folsom Field in the Colorado-Wyoming game?
I'd say electric.
I was actually going to use the same word, but I was going to just say like absolutely electric in front. I was on that run, and so it was one of the coolest feelings in the whole world, and being able to debut a new buffalo was such an honor.
To have that debut come across when there have been so few people who have actually trained a buffalo and successfully debuted them to do this. And I am very proud of the fact that now we've done 2.
I mean, this program it's changed my life in some of the best ways. Just everything about it has been so amazing that it's really like enriched my life so much. And I love doing anything that involves Ralphie.
I guess to me, the Ralphie Handler program represents a lot more than just the buffalo. It represents my friends, my family, people that have really pushed me to become the best version of myself that I can possibly be.
I don't think that we know what this program means to people and the impact that it has on individuals, because obviously, like, everyone sees the game day, you see the people crying, you see like Ralphie is magical every time, like I get choked up, all those things, and we know that. But I think that there's so much more that we don't know in ways that we're just going through and impacting people's lives. And I hope it's always for the better. To me, it's shaped my life.
And given Taylor all the time to pet her big BFF, Ralphie. A big thanks to James Call and the BYU post-production team for sound design and music for this episode. We're also grateful to you for listening to Big Stories. Give us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform. If you have comments or ideas for future Big Stories, just email me at cleon.wall@byu.edu. We will be back with more Big Stories from around the Big 12 Conference in the near future. Big Stories is a production of BYU Radio.